Hello, welcome back to English with Mr. French. And by now you all know the routine. We are studying The Lost Thing by Sean Tan. Today's lesson 5, so well done for getting this far. That's 5 whole lessons you've done on English, and I've already seen some lovely writing through your portfolios. Thank you to all the children in other classes who are sending their work to their teachers as well. It's lovely to see your work. Well done. Right, so today, before we actually start the main part of the lesson, I'm going to show you a game that I've made, an observation game to do with The Lost Thing. Now, if you're in my class normally, you would have done these on Zoom, so you can skip straight to the main lesson. But even if you are in my class, you can do the game again, and I'm going to give you the PowerPoint so you can play about with it. And if you wanted to, you can make your own observation questions for maybe your family. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to introduce you to the observation game. So click on the first slide. It says to start the slideshow, press F5, then look at each picture carefully for 60 seconds, and then click for the challenge. And can you remember what was covered up? So this green question mark is going to cover something up. Okay, so I'm going to press F5 to start my slideshow, and I'll get a screen, a full screen like this. If you can see 2 screens, you're going to need to switch those off because you might get a clue as to the answer. You might need an adult to help you there. So I'm going to look at the first picture for 60 seconds. I'm not going to do 60 seconds today because I haven't got time on the video. But I would look at all the little details. So there's a little sign there that says feed pump, there's a statue, there's some buildings, there's some words there. Oh, what's that on the floor? And then you've got the lost thing here. Oh, and there's Sean. So there's all sorts of things going on. There's a lamppost there. So in 60 seconds, you should have looked at all that, and then I will cover something up. And the first one's quite an easy one. What colour is the lost thing? If you were looking carefully, you'll know the lost thing is red, but if you said something like orange or copper, fantastic. You click again and you get the reveal. Okay, so that's the game. Keep clicking through the pictures. It's a lot of fun. So I'm going to come out of that slideshow, and I'm going to go into the Word document for today's lesson. So we are actually going to be moving on with the story again today. So I'm going to go straight to the main story, where Sean has decided to give up trying to ask people what's happening with this lost thing, and he's going to take it home. So I'll read the story to you. It says, there was nothing left to do but take the thing home with me. I mean, I couldn't just leave it wandering the streets. Plus, I felt kind of sorry for it. And there's Sean there, holding its little hand or the bell on the end of its claw or wing and taking it home. Oh, what a good person Sean is. And then my parents didn't really notice it at first, too busy discussing current events, I guess. Eventually, I had to point it out to them. Its feet are filthy streaked, Mum. It could have all kinds of strange diseases, warned Dad. Take it back to where you found it, they demanded, both at the same time. It's lost, I said, but they had already started talking about something else. Now, can you see the lost thing in the back of the picture there? I wonder how many of you didn't see that at first. I wonder how many of you out there didn't see the lost thing, even though it was a massive part of the picture. Poor lost thing. So those pictures are there. I'm going to move on to the story. I hid the thing in our back shed and gave it something to eat once I found out what it liked. It seemed a bit happier then, even though it was still lost. Ah, likes to eat Christmas decorations by the looks of it. I checked the local paper for any lost pet notices, but only found a lot of good deals on refrigerator repairs. I remember thinking then that Pete was probably right, that some things were just plain lost. In any case, I sure couldn't keep the thing in the shed forever. Mum or Dad would eventually notice it when they came out looking for a hammer or something. It was a real dilemma. I was wondering what to do when a small advertisement on the last page of the paper happened to catch my eye. And that's where we stop the story to today on a cliffhanger. So remember, those pages are there on your Word document for you to look at the story again as you need to. And today we are going to do a little bit of sentence work. We are the point of today's task is to write instructions for looking after your lost thing. So I'm going to give you an example of how to do it for the real lost thing for the story, but then I'd like you to think of your own lost thing. Now, there's two ways to do this that I can think of. One is that you imagine one in your head and you draw it, and then you write instructions for how to look after it. The other one is if you to go and actually find a lost thing, maybe in your house or in your backyard or garden, or perhaps if you go for a walk with mum and dad, then you can find something that's lost in the countryside maybe. If you're in my class, we did this for our Zoom chat, so you could perhaps find one of those lost objects and turn that into a creature. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first part of the task. It says, write an instruction under each heading for how to look after your lost thing. Use a modal verb. I'm not going to do a grammar lesson today on modal verbs. I'm just going to give you a list of modal verbs. Basically, they tell you how much something is needed. My daughter, she's only just 2 years old, but she's good at using the word must and need already. I need my ball, I need my teddy, she says. So she's very good at that, and she's only 2. So I think everybody here today will be good at using modal verbs. So that's where we're going to start. So down at the bottom is your activity sheet. You can see I've got a picture of the lost thing. I've given it a name, the lost thing. And then I've got 4 sections: habitat, hygiene, diet, and exercise. So habitat is to do with where it lives. And I'm going to use a modal verb from my list. I'm going to use should. Okay. It should be returned home if seen out after dark. Okay, and just for you at home, I'm going to highlight that in red. So you can see the modal verb has been highlighted. And then hygiene, so that's to do with like looking after its hair, skin, washing it, that sort of thing. So I'm going to use the modal verb ought. So it ought to be washed with warm soapy water every other day. I'm going to highlight ought for you. Okay, and then I'm going to go to diet, to do with eating and drinking, and I'm going to say it must. I'm going to use the modal verb must. It must never be fed more than once a day. I'm going to highlight must, and just to check on my list there, must is at the top yet, it's on the list. Ought to is there, so I'm using the right words from the modal verb list. And then exercise, I'm going to use would. So it would enjoy a good walk twice daily. I'm just going to highlight would. There we go, fantastic. So that's one sentence in each box, and they're simple sentences. I'm not expanding them yet, that's the next part. Right, so part 2, it says improve your sentences by adding a subordinating conjunction. Now, again, I'm not doing a whole grammar lesson on subordinating conjunctions today. However, most of you in Key Stage 2 have learned those, certainly once. And certainly words like even though, or as, or when. I know you learn those even younger than Key Stage 2, so you will know some of these. But again, I've given you a whole list of subordinating conjunctions. Now, I'm going to give you an example of how you can use these at the start of sentences or in the middle of a sentence, and I'd like you to try to do both. So for the sentence under habitat, where it should be returned home if seen out after dark, I'm going to look at my list and I'm going to use because. And I'm actually going to use because at the start of the sentence. So because it has a tendency to get lost, it should be returned home if seen out after dark. That makes sense. I'm just going to change that capital I to a small I because it's now in the middle of the sentence, and make sure that because is a capital B. I'm going to highlight that green for you. So you can see my subordinating conjunction there. That allows me to create a more complex sentence than the simple one that was on before, and it makes sense together. Right, the next sentence, it ought to be washed with warm soapy water every day. Okay, I'm going to have a look at my list. I think I'll use unless. And again, I'm going to use unless at the start of the sentence. So unless you have a bottle of special shampoo, it ought to be washed with warm soapy water every day. So I'm going to change that I to a small I, a lowercase I. And again, that is now a complex sentence. It's got my subordinating conjunction. But those two things fit together. They work together. Okay, they're not two different things. Okay, good. Now we're going to go down to diet. And now I'm going to add my subordinating conjunction at the end of that clause. So it must never be fed more than once a day. Look at my list. Oh, I think I'm going to go for since. Never be fed more than once a day since it has a tendency to become overweight. I'm just going to highlight my subordinating conjunction in green. Now, because it's now in the middle of the sentence, it doesn't need a capital letter. You might decide that you have a comma after day. It depends on the flow of the sentence. Does that comma allow the sentence to continue flowing, or does it slow it down? What effect do you want there? Okay, exercise. It would enjoy a good walk twice daily. And I'm going to go on my list. And in order that, well, I'm going to change that to in order to, which still makes sense, still a subordinating conjunction. It would enjoy a good walk twice daily in order to stay fit and healthy. So I'm just going to highlight that in green for you. There we go. And I've done one sentence for each box with a modal verb first, and then I improve my sentences by adding a subordinating conjunction, and that forces me to write a subordinating clause. And what you'll have are 4 fantastic sentences. Now, those of you who are pushing for stronger writing, I would suggest that you now try to do another sentence in each box, at least one more. So for habitat, you might leave a line and you might then talk about, where it sleeps, for example, the condition of its bedroom. It needs a nice bed, comfy pillows, that sort of thing. So I'm challenging you stronger writers, or certainly your older children, to not just put one complex sentence in there, but try to put a few more. Now that's the only task today, but I've given you some extra time to draw a picture of your lost thing. I can't wait to see some of the pictures that we come up with. You are allowed to attach a photograph. So if it's an actual real lost thing that you found, you can attach a picture of that. That would be fine. And you can see I've given you a whole page to do your picture and then your sentences in the boxes. Okay, so have a go at the PowerPoint first. I hope you have fun with the game, and then move on to the lesson. And I'm really looking forward to seeing your lost things and how you look after them. Okay, well done for getting this far. See you next time. Bye-bye.